All right. Greetings, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. My name is Sarah Clute-Bain. I am the Boone County Hospital Foundation Director, and I am pleased to present to you today our January 2024 Educating and Empowering You program. I'm really pleased to have Amy Terry here today. She is a fitness trainer, and I mean, you probably have like this long credential title that you'll share all about all of the things that you're doing, but Amy is new to the community, so really wanted to give her the opportunity to share with us some of her awesome tips, and then also introduce her to our Boone community as well. So really quick, just want to make a note that next month our Educating and Empowering You program is underway in terms of planning. It is Heart Month, so I'm looking for someone who specializes in maybe some heart information. So if anybody out there has any ideas and suggestions, I'm always open to that. I have a few, but again, I like to open up and make sure that we get invites or suggestions from other people as well. So I am going to turn it over to you, Amy, to get us going today on our program.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me this month. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, I am Amy Terry. I am a certified nutrition coach and personal trainer. Um, up to before my husband and I moved to Boone, we're originally from Shenandoah, Iowa. Both born and raised there. Both of our families are there. It's in the southwest corner, about 3 hours from here. So, actually, I didn't really start with the fitness industry at all. I had a professional career before this. I worked with it at US Cellular for 8 years and then was an insurance agent after that. But in 2020, when everything shut down and we had to stay home with the kiddo, I couldn't go back to work the way that it was before. I worked with all seniors and I was visiting my clients, seniors in their home, and nobody was visiting seniors in their home in 2020. So I couldn't go back to work. And then at that same time, our son aged out of daycare and he has a lot of special needs. So he's 14 years old now, and there's not a whole lot of services out there for kiddos that have special needs like that and can't go to daycare. So I wouldn't have been able to go back to work at that time anyway. And so uh, my husband and I had both lived the fit lifestyle where we were meal prepping and going to the gym and doing all of those things. And I always had like a lot of friends and family that would be like, hey, like I would pay you to cook for me. Like, would you cook for me? And I was like, I'm not doing anything else. I might as well cook for people. So, like 6 months down the road after doing that, I was cooking for so many people that I couldn't do it out of my house anymore. And so I was like, I should probably like get certified for this. I mean, I know what I'm talking about because I've been doing it myself for a lot of years, and for my husband. But as soon as you start cooking for other people, it's like, I should probably get some credentials here. So that is what motivated me to go and get my nutrition certification. And because I love food, I love cooking for food, I love teaching people about food. So I might as well learn all about it. And so I absolutely love that experience. And then I actually continued to cook for people. I did meal prep just like that for like a year and a half or so. And then my husband got the opportunity to come to Boone to work for the railroad. And when we did, so at that point, I was coaching some of the people that I was cooking for. I was actually doing nutrition coaching for them, so guiding them on whatever goals that they had for themselves. And then moving here to Boone last May, I got the opportunity to, what do we do when we come to a new community? We were looking for a gym. Like, what gym can we call our home? And so that's when we met Jen and joined the strength shop. And through some conversations with Jen, she let me know that she's like, I actually need a little bit of help. And I was like, I actually need people to help. So it just worked out so well that we were able to really meet each other's needs in that way. And so I work a few hours a week at the gym here in Boone, Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and then taking personal training clients and doing nutrition coaching still. So I can now coach in person, which is something that I really wanted to be able to add, which I'm so glad I'm able to do that. And I continue to coach nutrition coaching completely virtual. So I have clients everywhere from back home to here in town and to several states, because as soon as one person starts, they're like, my sister wants help, and my sister's in North Carolina. So I help people all over the place. You don't have to necessarily be local, but it's fun when you are, because then I get to see you in person. But so a little bit about like my journey specifically. I didn't actually come from being athletic at all. So becoming a nutrition coach and a personal trainer, I didn't play sports. I was not athletic. I actually was I spent a lot of my childhood and teenage years doing everything to avoid any sort of physical activity. I did not enjoy it. I'm more of like the nerd. I love to read. And so learning about things is actually like what I enjoy. But I, after having a very stressful job, like I said, I had a professional job before this, but it was actually extremely stressful. And then after having my son, and few years goes down the road, and all of a sudden 20 pounds comes on, and then 30 pounds comes on, and then 40. And then one day I realized, I woke up and I realized that I weighed 10 pounds more than the day my son was born. And that kind of like, that was a gut check. I was like, I've never been here before. I've never had to lose weight before. And so I myself went on a couple of years of roller coaster trying all these different things to lose this weight, because I was not athletic. I didn't grow up in a family that placed any sort of importance on being physically active. I just wasn't around it. And so when it came to having to lose weight, I was 100% lost. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. And I did the worst thing you could possibly do. I went to the internet. And because that is, you know what, there's some great information out there, but you have to weed through a lot of the bad stuff before you actually find the real information that you're looking for. And so going through that process, I really learned every fad diet out there I tried, but nothing that would ever keep the weight off. And so like when I gained 20 pounds, I lost that 20 pounds, but then 30 pounds came back and I lost that. But then the next time 40 pounds came back. And that's when I was like, okay, so doing these extreme fad diets are not working. Obviously, something is not working through like extreme food restriction, every like extreme carb restriction, whatever it was that I was doing very extreme things. So yeah, the weight would come off, but it wouldn't stay off. So what was I doing wrong that I could not keep this weight off? And so that's what set me really on this journey of finding, how do I make this a sustainable lifestyle? Like, how do I make this a lifestyle that I can see myself living, so that when the next time I work for this, right, when I put all of this work in to lose this weight, it stays off and I can be confident that I'm not going to be here again. And so here's the thing about why fad diets don't work. And when I say that, I mean like the ones that say only eat meat ever, right? So like there's a carnivore diet out there. Now, keto does, if there is a time when the keto diet is medically necessary. There are certain people with diagnosed with a reason why their body cannot process carbs. And so if that is not you, then you don't need to eat a keto diet, right? Where you're way high in fat, way low in carbs. So those are just two examples of some extreme diets that are out there. Would it work? Yeah, because you can do it for a short period of time, right? We can do anything for a short period of time. But when you get to the end and you've lost the weight, what are you going to do? You're going to think, oh, I don't have to do this diet anymore. So now I'm going to go back to how I used to live, my old habits, right? And that's why the weight comes back on, is because we didn't actually learn sustainable daily routines, sustainable daily habits that will help you achieve your weight loss goal, but then also maintain it, right? Sustain that for a long time. So, what you have to do, which this is the hardest part of all, because following instructions, anybody can follow instructions and do what they're told for a certain period of time, right? But we're always going to revert back to this autopilot. And that's what gets you. That's what gets us every time. It's this autopilot. So when stress comes, life situation comes, even just everyday life, like living out the crazy, hectic weekdays, what happens? Our brain wants to conserve energy. Our brain wants to shut off, and it just wants to go on autopilot. Well, the thing is your autopilot, as it is right now, is not serving you, right? So if you're in a situation where you feel like you need to lose weight, when you go on autopilot, the foods that you choose, whether you're working out or not, if you're physically active or if you're being more sedentary, or are you drinking water, all of those things. If you're not thinking about it, what do you do naturally, right? And those are your habits. So those are the habits that we have to change in order to have a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. That's the difficult part, is like rerouting this autopilot that we're on. So what I do, the basis of what I do when I help people with nutrition is, well, nutrition and personal training, all of it, is I coach based on the big four. And if you work with me for any amount of time, you're going to hear me, I say it all the time. There's four things, four key habits that if you can build a sustainable routine, like a daily routine that makes sense for you, right? Because it's got to make sense in your lifestyle. If it doesn't make sense, you're not going to do it for very long. So it's got to make sense for you. But if you can build a daily routine around these four things, you'll not only reach your goal, but you'll be confident that you can keep it, right? You'll be confident that you can maintain those results for a lifetime. The big four is calories, protein, movement, and water. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it? Like, that's like, what even is that? That's so simple. It seems like it. But remember what I said, it's not actually what you're supposed to do that's hard. Those things in and of themselves are simple. What's hard is rerouting these habits, right? When our brain wants to shut off and go on autopilot because it has no more energy to give, those are your daily habits. And it's changing those daily habits that's difficult. So I work on calories. The reason why we work on calories is because no matter what your health goal is, so I know I talk in terms of weight loss all the time because that is the vast majority of the client base that I work with, is they come wanting fat loss, right? Wanting to lose weight. But it's the same principle if you want to gain weight, because there's just as many people out there that are, they struggle to gain weight. They don't feel healthy because they're underweight. And if you want to build lean muscle tissue, so if you want to lean and tone because you want a more toned or muscular physique, these four things are the same for everybody. The basic game plan is the same for everybody. It just has to be personalized to what you specifically need, right? So this is where we customize the game plan to achieve results for you. So calories determine whether the scale goes up or down or stays the same. So we hear it all the time, calories in, calories out, right? But what does that actually mean? Well, we have to be consuming fewer calories than we are burning in order to achieve weight loss. And the only way we know if we are consuming less calories than we are burning is if we track them. We have to track and measure it, because calories being the overall thing that determines what the scale says, we must measure it in some way. Because if we want to control what the scale says, meaning I want it to go down, so how do I make it go down? If we want to control what the scale says, we must control the calories that we're consuming so that we make sure that we stay in that deficit, right? So if you can control, if you can manage the amount of calories that you're eating every single day, then we can control what the scale is going to say. So we need to figure out how many calories you're supposed to be eating, and then we just got to get consistent with that. So we got to measure. I work with people in an app where you track and log your food every day. It's very intuitive. You can scan barcodes, but it helps you to understand how many calories you're actually consuming in a day. And then the second part is protein. So protein is very important on a weight loss journey because protein supports and sustains our lean muscle tissue. Lean muscle tissue is the driver of our metabolism. So if we hear about metabolism all the time, right? And one of the things that I hear all the time is, the older I get, my metabolism is just tanking, right? So the older I get, my metabolism is hitting this brick wall, right? Well, the thing is, what actually happens as we age, and when I say as we age, I don't mean like 50, 60 years old. I mean, this starts like when we're 30. It's not our metabolism actually slowing down. It's that we're losing lean muscle tissue. And lean muscle tissue is the driver of our metabolism. And so if we are not actively doing something to sustain and build lean muscle tissue, we're going to start losing it as we age. And so the more sedentary we are, the older we get, that we are losing lean muscle tissue, which means which it has the effect of our metabolism slowing down. So if we want to boost our metabolism, which means that we can burn more calories throughout the day, that's how our body is able to burn calories, right? Then we have to be not only sustaining the lean muscle tissue that we have, but we need to actively be trying to build more. And if we can do that, then we will hit our weight loss goals faster. So calories, you can control the scale going down just by controlling your calories. However, what are you going to look like? That's the other thing. What are we going to look like once the scale goes down? Are we going to be like kind of soft and fluffy still, just a little bit smaller? Or do we want that lean and toned physique where we're getting smaller and things are more firm, right? And usually that answer, every single person that talks to me is like, oh yeah, it's the lean and firm one. That's the one that I want, right? That lean and toned physique. And so what's so important is that we don't chase weight loss at any cost. And this is what I say to any client coming to work with me. Yes, you want to lose weight. However, you don't want weight loss at any cost, right? At the cost of our lean muscle tissue. We want to sustain our lean muscle tissue and lose body fat. That's what we actually want, right? So we control the number of calories that are coming in. We prioritize protein so that we can build and sustain our lean muscle tissue and have a lean and toned physique once we do lose that weight. And when you are focusing on building lean muscle tissue, you get to lose weight faster. Nobody wants to be stuck doing this forever, right? We want it to go by fast. The third thing is movement. So you got to move your body, right? Because if we're burning calories, right? So we're eating in a calorie deficit. We want to be burning more calories than we're consuming. the way that we burn calories is just daily living, right? We're burning calories every day, just living our life. But if we want to burn more, we have to move our body. And so one of the most overlooked, but one of the best weight loss exercises out there is walking. That's all you got to do. If you don't know where to start, and if working out seems way intimidating, you can lose weight just by walking 30 to 45 minutes a day. If you can do that, you can definitely lose weight. Now, if you want to lose weight faster and you want to have a lean and toned, maybe a more muscular physique when you do lose that body fat, then we should do some resistance training. So 3 to 4 days of resistance training every single week is ideal. You could do up to 5 or 6 days of resistance training, but you don't have to. So if you could find a sweet spot of 3 to 4 days of resistance training a week with 30 to 45 minutes of walking every day, if you can hit a routine in that sweet spot right there, you'll unlock the secret to building muscle and losing body fat at the same time, which also means that the journey goes by faster. And the last one is water. Guys, we're all adults. We don't have to explain why your body needs water, right? We're just supposed to drink it. So, and you know what? It seems very simple, but in an age where, like, in a society where a lot of the things that is pushed at us and we have access to, and the things that we see are all like sugary drinks, and social events are around alcohol, and all of these things that are just has become normal, we can forget. Drinking water can easily be forgotten if it's not a habit. So we have to build that habit of drinking water so that it helps our joints, it helps our digestion, all of these things. It plays a huge role in being able to optimize all of your body's processes that need to be running smoothly in order for you to be able to lose weight effectively and be able to maintain that lifestyle. So if you can get control over how many calories you're eating every day and prioritize protein, move your body, and drink water, if you can build a sustainable routine around those things that make sense for you in your life, you can achieve those goals and you can maintain them. Now, there's lots of other things that go into that I help my clients out with. We deep dive into metabolism. We deep dive into gut health and the types of foods that you're eating. You know, your body wants clean, whole foods, not overly processed foods and things like that. So while we deep dive into teaching those things, it's also important to remember that we have to live our life too, right? So we can't dedicate our entire life to always thinking about what we're eating and working out and things like that. Now, there are certain things like a good workout routine that should integrate into your life and should be something that you do all of the time. However, it's not, you don't have to give up all of the things that you enjoy. What you learn through building this routine is how to make it fit in. And I like using the term, you know, there's things that we can eat and do every day, and then there's things that we eat and do occasionally, right? And some of those things that we should be doing occasionally, we end up doing every day. And so we just kind of have to switch that. And we have to make what we do every single day help us be healthier and make better decisions, right? So make that autopilot, make those healthy habits your autopilot, so that every day, this is what I do. This is how I fuel my body. This is how I move my body. So that on the weekend, when you want to go out for a nice dinner and have some alcohol and enjoy a night with your friends and order dessert and not worry about how many calories you're taking in, you can absolutely do that. You can do that and not have to worry about it. If somebody brings donuts on a random Wednesday morning to work, you can have a donut and not have to worry about it, because your autopilot is now every single day this is how I live. This is how I feel my body. This is how I work out. And if you're doing that every day, what you do every once in a while, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna throw you off. You get to actually enjoy, it. And that's one of the things that I love so much about what I've been able to help people with so far is hearing when they tell me, like, I actually enjoy my life. Like, I had to learn some things, right? We have to invest some time in the front end because we're not good at it right away. Everything takes practice. If you're doing something new, you weren't good at it the first day at your job. You weren't good at it the first day of anything, right? You had to practice and you had to get good at it. And once they cross over into that and they're like, this is just a routine now, and I get to enjoy my life, that's literally the best thing anybody could ever tell me. Like, I'm happy when the scale goes down. I'm happy when your clothes fit better. But honestly, hearing somebody tell me that they're so happy and they're actually able to enjoy their life, and they didn't know that you could lose weight, keep it off, and actually love your life still, maybe even more because you have more energy, you feel better, you're confident in your clothes, and all of those things. That's, for me, that's what it's all about. That's the goal right there. So that's what I do.
I love it. It sounds like that part too, Amy. I'm sorry interrupting you. I was going to say it sounds like because then people don't feel like they're restricting themselves when you say that. Like they're able to do all the things and be happy with what they're doing, feel fulfilled, both kind of emotionally, but also in a nutrition sense too. And like they're not depriving themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Because it completely changes that mindset. Because if you think about it, if you know that you don't feel good and you know that what you're doing is not healthy, and you just further do that, like drinking more alcohol than you know you should, or indulging on more food than what you should, right? Then you feel guilty about it afterwards, right? And you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Well, then you kind of start to regret or resent occasions in your life that you should have been able to enjoy guilt free and be present with your family or your friends or whoever, um and not be worrying about what you're eating, right? And that's the kind of freedom that you get when you learn the difference between this is an everyday habit and this is an occasional thing, right? And once you kind of make that shift in your mindset, because this is what I do every day, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm confident, and I'm feeling good, now you get to be present in these other scenarios and these other occasions in your life, and you get to enjoy that time and do whatever the heck you want, right? And it is so much more fulfilling to be able to enjoy those times in your life without having to worry about it, because the rest of your lifestyle is healthy. It's healthier, right? And so you actually get to enjoy your life more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope everybody was writing down some notes. And if you have questions, you can pop them into the chat. But I do have some questions and comments. I'm just going to be bold here. Go ahead and kind of address those first, and maybe I will address the questions that you all have. So, and I think I have something from each line item that you shared. But first of all, I just want to say thank you because I think your story, and thank you for sharing your background, because I think that's very relatable. And I think people have been where you are and feel that and really are looking for answers. And like you said, we're all going out to the internet and finding multiple different opinions. And I think that one of the things that maybe you're also saying is that it's really individual based on that person. And I know one of the things that I had to kind of come to grips with for myself was I thought I had an active lifestyle because I worked out and I was active. But the truth was, like what you were saying to me was, take out your workout. What's your lifestyle like? And I'm like, oh, I sit at a desk all day. So I'm sedentary, which I think that's the other thing that people don't really realize is they think they're active because they might go on walks or have kind of like set times where set for movement. But if we're sitting behind a desk, that might change what our caloric intake should be. So I guess that's one question or thought anyways, if there was anything to expand on that.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where working with a professional really comes into play, because when you have somebody that can take your exact, but it's down to your current weight and your height and your body composition. It all of those things matter when calculating how many calories you actually should be consuming in a day and to achieve a certain goal, whether that goal is weight loss or maintaining or what have you. You, like you said, like if you're sedentary, you might be way overeating calories and not even know, because that's the thing, is a lot of people, they're like, I mean, I work out, I eat relatively good, that I can't tell you how many times people tell me like, I eat healthy. Why is this happening to me? And a lot of times it's their food choices are good, right? It's not like what you're eating is bad, but it's not what you should be eating in order to get to that goal. And that's where working with somebody that can customize that for you and say, and give you an exact thing and say, all right, this is our calorie goal. This is what a day of eating should look like for you, in order to achieve that goal, right? Because as soon as we can measure it, then we can manage it.
Yeah, exactly. So great. Thank you for sharing more on that. And then I guess as far as calories go in that kind of that section, you had mentioned that you used to do food prep. And so I think that one of the things that maybe people don't know about also is that we have a food prep entity here in Boone also. I think there's actually another one in Madrid, and there's some in Des Moines, of course, too, but we have one right here in Boone. And so if people aren't aware of that, feel free to reach out to me or to Amy. We can definitely connect you with them, because I think one of the things too that's nice about that is that, again, some people don't really know where to start with food or, cooking, or if it's just a single person needing to cook for themselves, sometimes that can be overwhelming. And especially with the price of groceries these days, we do not want to waste food by preparing it and then either eating the same thing every day, which is never really fun. But some people may love that too, and that's okay. But having a variety and having that available to us also. So that was
Yeah.
something that I guess I wanted to make a little plug for on that as well, because I think that's important to note. Um, Secondly, on protein, obviously you have bottles of protein powder behind you, it looks like. So my question was behind supplementing protein, because I think oftentimes people have a hard time getting to their protein goal each day based just with food. What's kind of your suggestion behind that?
I'm actually really glad that you brought that up. Like, and I'm not just saying that at all. Like, I'm glad that you brought that question up, because especially like with the internet and everything that you can go to right now, I I do like supplementing with protein. Because if you can drink a protein shake every day, that's one serving of protein every single day. It is literally the easiest habit to start and stick with, and you just don't have to think about it. So like, hello, convenience. Like, that's one of those things that I am 100% like a proponent of that, and I do it myself, and I recommend it to my clients. What I do not like, that's out there right now, that is highly misleading, is that not all protein is created equal. So when you have a protein powder in a tub, how do you know that that protein is a good protein and this one beside it is not? And a lot of times you're not going to know unless you can talk to someone about it. When I say not all protein is created equal, there's a way that protein is processed, okay? And what you want is a low temperature processed protein. And it might not always be obvious, but the reason you want a low temperature processed protein is because it's not near as denatured, and so your body, your gut, is going to be able to break it down, absorb it, and then go on to utilize that protein. Now, a lot of times, those less expensive proteins, if you can get a big tub of protein for $20, you don't want it, okay? Like the cheaper that it is, typically, the more cheap the processing it's been through. And when they speed up and cheapen the process of the protein, what happens is our gut actually isn't able to break it down because it is so denatured. And when that happens, the only thing that you can do is just pass it, right? Because if your body can't break it down and absorb it, it's not going to utilize it. So you could, yes, in the short term, you could be choosing a cheaper protein. But in the long run, you're going to end up spending more because you're not actually getting the results from it, which is the whole reason why you're supplementing with protein to begin with. The other one is like the pre-made protein shakes that you can get like in a little bottle. There's lots of different brands out there. They're so convenient and they're available literally everywhere. It's not the worst, right? But it's not the best either. Because if you think about it, whey protein is comes from dairy. And if that can be shelf stable for a long period of time without having to be refrigerated, what do you think they did to that dairy product to get it to stay shelf stable for so long? They added a lot of preservatives to it. And gut health, one of the things that I educate heavily on and go into talking a lot about with my clients is removing as many of those additives as you possibly can. And so that's just one way that, yeah, it's a little bit of an extra effort to have a scoop of protein powder and you have to shake it up, whether you're mixing it with water or whatever. But for me, I would rather have that one little extra step, which really isn't that bad, to know that my body is properly breaking it down and absorbing it, and then going on to utilize it so that I can actually get the results that I'm expecting by drinking it, right? So that's my plug and education on how to choose protein. If you don't know, please ask. Please let me know. I love talking about this stuff.
I love it. Well, and I think another sneaky way of getting protein is, and that I kind of had forgotten about and I started doing again, was putting a little bit of protein powder in my coffee in the morning. And it's so good.
It
It's
is.
like it's like a vanilla, it feels like I'm having a vanilla latte or something, you know?
It really is. And some of the proteins out there now, they have such delicious flavors like caramel latte. You can get, even just like a good chocolate would make a really yummy mocha. So, but that also, if you can cut out the sugary, chemical filled coffee creamers that are not dairy at all, it says right on there, non-dairy. So what do you think that's full of? Chemicals and oil, hydrogenated oils and things that just tear up our gut. And so if you can kick out one of those things, another one of those ingredients that's highly inflammatory for your gut, replace it with protein, which is what we want, right? It's what we need in our day. Then like there is literally no losing by putting protein in your coffee.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a fun little trick we can use, a little tip. So,
Been
okay,
doing it for 5 years. I love it.
oh, it's awesome. It's such a great idea. So, movement. Okay, so when you were talking about movement, we were talking about 30 to 45 minutes a day of walking, and a couple of things came to mind for me. And, one of the things that I've learned over the years too, and talking about just kind of like ways that we can make this work for us and for our schedules. And one of the things that I've learned is movement snacks. And I'm sure you use that a lot with your clients too, like just breaking it down into like if they only have 15 minutes, but they can do that twice or three times a day, then to make it shorter. Is that something that you also kind of suggest, like get it in however you can get it? It doesn't have to be all at once.
Yes. So, when I say like 30 to 45 minutes of walking every day, sometimes some people hear that and they're like, oh, I could totally do that. I need to walk the dog anyway, right? But then there's other times when you're like, I literally don't know where I can find another 45 minutes in my day? So in that situation, you can absolutely choose a step goal versus like just trying to walk for a certain amount of time. And so if you have an overall daily step goal, then yes, you can break it up into making sure you have like a little timer that that goes off so you can get up, walk away from the desk for a few minutes and come back. And just adding little things like parking farther away at the grocery store, save the close spots. There's people that are handicapped, expecting mothers, you know, they have tiny little kids that they're dragging along with them. Let them park close to the store. You park farther away and get some more steps in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think too, our world is getting better about like just things that are available to us. You know, we talked about earlier, we were talking about apps. I think kind of before the recording, you know, that was the, you know, there's ways to record all these things. And one of the things that I would offer from my own personal experience is that a lot of people are getting, you know, stand-up desks, walking desks, that type of thing. So there's literally like a walking pad that is a lot more affordable than a great big treadmill. You can stash it under a bed because it doesn't have arms and things on it. So it's literally a walking pad. It doesn't have any incline or anything. But you know, those nights where I want to watch a show, I allow myself to indulge in that show, but I have to be on my little walk mill. so so that I get my steps in. So that's another
Absolutely.
kind of thought process behind maybe people are thinking about, oh, do I have to join a gym or do I, you know, how do I do this? Do I have to go invest $1,000 in a big fancy treadmill? That type of thing. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that 100%. And that's actually like, I'm glad you, because as soon as you said like a stand-up desk, I was like, ooh, and get one of those little walk tracks so that you can like be standing there. And now like what I do for work, I would get out of breath because like
Yeah.
I do a lot of video messaging with my clients, and I've tried that on the treadmill before, and they're just like, breathe. So
Yeah.
I stopped doing video messages on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, like you totally can. And I do that. I pay myself on the treadmill before I sit on the couch. So like I do have a treadmill, but if you just got like one of those smaller like walk tracks that's like so much cheaper and just more manageable to be able to have in a house, like before I sit down on the couch with my book, I'll do my first 30 minutes walking first, you know? And I mean, scrolling, how often do you just sit down and lose 30 minutes by scrolling social media? Well, jump on a treadmill and scroll social media. You're doing the exact same thing with your brain. You're accomplishing the exact same thing. So whether it's reading, scrolling social media, watching your TV show, pay yourself that first 30 to 45 minutes. Because you know what? Once you've been on there for 45 minutes, it's nothing to do an hour. Because
Yep.
there's been so many times when I'm like, okay, just 30 minutes, just 30. That's all you have to do. Just 30, talking myself into it. And once I've been on there for 30 minutes, it's like, that really wasn't that bad, right? Like I can do 15 more.
Yes, exactly. Or setting a goal, like if they're wanting to work up to 7,000 or 8,000 steps
Mhm.
a day too. I mean, that also could be where they get that opportunity to kind of finish out their day by reaching the goal by being on the step mill or treadmill, little walk mill, whatever it's called.
Whatever it is. Yeah, and then we just wait it out until the nice spring days, those summer days when you actually want to be outside and it's enjoyable to go outside on a walk like in the evening or something like that. But yes, these are great tips for getting us through the week, like through the winter when like that's the last thing we want to do.
Exactly, exactly. All right, one more thing on water. So, and then obviously, if anybody after this I haven't covered people's questions, please throw them in the chat. Or if you have anything else, Amy, of course. So, water. So, a lot of times I'm sure you will hear people are like, oh, but I don't like the taste of water, or I just don't, I'm not good about it, I forget. I mean, you kind of alluded to that too. And I'm wondering what your kind of viewpoint is on electrolytes, because for obvious reasons, you know, adding electrolytes I think can be helpful taste wise for people because it can flavor the water, make it more interesting to drink, but also kind of a benefit to our bodies as well. And I'm curious if you can share a little bit more about that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're going to choose an electrolyte drink for your water, the first thing I say, always look at the sugar content. So anything that is full of sugar, you obviously don't want that. I would definitely prefer something 0 calorie or very low, like 5 or 10 calories. And definitely, I would love to find something with zero sugar. And they are out there. You can find them. You just have to pay attention. So that's like my first little plug on electrolytes. Now, I drink electrolytes every single day. I have one, it's mixed in with one of my other supplements that I use. You can get it along with certain supplements. You can get it by itself in like the little drink sticks, you know? So what I would say is it's one of those things you could do like once every day, and that is good for you. What I would caution is we don't want that to be what we're drinking every single time we have water. We still want to train ourselves to be able to drink plain water. And I know that that is not easy for everyone. Water is one of the things that I struggled with the most, which you would think, I mean, a lot of people laugh at me about it. Like once you get to know me, you're like, really, out of all of the things, the water is what you struggle with the most. Yes, it actually is. But I'm not a natural, I don't naturally want to drink a lot of liquid. It's just not, I don't have that impulse. And so I have to be very intentional about it. And so whether it's not liking the taste, not drinking a lot of liquids, there's so many reasons why drinking water is difficult for people. What I start off by saying is find out how you prefer the water. Do you drink more water if it's ice cold or if it's room temperature? For me personally, I drink more if it's room temperature. So, however you prefer your water, make sure you have it available that way. And then the other one is, do you prefer drinking out of a bottle or do you prefer having a straw? Would you, you know, and so if you know yourself a little bit, now me, I drink like 2 times more water if it's through a straw. I do not know why. It's just now, but I work with several people that are just like, that's so annoying. I would never drink water out of a straw every day, right? So you just need to know yourself and what you prefer. And then make your water available like that. And then the other thing I would say, if you're going to have like an electrolyte drink, or maybe you like an energy drink in the afternoon, or you know, like me, I'm like my zero sugar, 0 calorie energy drink in the afternoon. I love it. I make myself earn that drink. So what that means is I have to drink so many ounces of water, which is different for everybody. Make it a stretch goal, make it something that it's not easy. It's a little bit challenging, right? So make yourself a goal to drink that many ounces of plain water first, and then you can earn your flavored water, or you earn your energy drink in the afternoon. It's a fun little way to like have a little competition with yourself. And then you just steadily increase that until you're drinking an adequate amount of water every day. You've built that habit up. And so, but continue to have your one electrolyte drink each day, you know? Because if it's something that you enjoy, that's another thing. If it's something you enjoy, don't take it away, right? Because that's the worst thing you can do. Because if you feel like you have to take something away, then you're mad. And you're like, now I resent having to drink water because I can't drink this other thing that I enjoy. So don't take away the things that you enjoy, but make yourself earn it. If that hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely, for sure. It makes sense quite a bit. Okay, so if somebody wanted to reach you, how should we get a hold of you, Amy?
I social media is out there. I know I started off by saying like don't go to the internet. But you know, it's just so dang convenient because you can find people and you know exactly who you're talking to. So now that we've met, you know that I'm a real person. Reach out to me on the internet. So at let's see, on Facebook, I'm just Amy Terry on Facebook.
Okay, great. And
Do you want me to I can provide like an email address
I think
or
that, well, maybe for people who aren't on Facebook, why don't
yeah.
you go ahead and say it and we'll add that.
Yeah, sure. So you can also email me. My email is amyjo, AMYJO 0788 at gmail.com.
Can you say it one more time? You just seemed like you broke up a tiny bit on my side
Oh,
for
did I?
some
Do you want me to
crazy
like type
reason.
it in the chat?
Sure. And then since it's recorded, if you'd say it again for the recording, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's AMYJO 0788 at gmail.com.
You. Okay. Well, and I think that you just typed in the chat, and otherwise there wasn't anything else in there, right? Okay.
I didn't see anything else.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you. This has been super helpful. It was fun to meet you, hear about your background. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today to share about your 4 tips for lifestyle change, sustainable
Yes.
lifestyle change. So that's the key word there. And if there is there anything else that you wanted to part with us today?
Just thank you for having me. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I had fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Amy. We'll talk to you real soon. Take care.
Yep.
Bye.